When a tsunami warning flashes across a screen or echoes through a siren near the coast, it's not just another alert, it's the ocean's way of reminding us how small we are compared to the forces of nature, because a tsunami is not just a big wave, it's an unstoppable surge of energy unleashed by sudden movements beneath the Earth's crust, often triggered by massive earthquakes, volcanic eruptions, or even underwater landslides. And what makes them terrifying is not only their size, but their speed and unpredictability. Because out in the open ocean, they can travel faster than a commercial jet, nearly 500 miles per hour, and yet remain almost invisible, a gentle ripple that ships barely notice, until that same ripple approaches shallow coastlines and rises into a wall of destruction that can reach the height of buildings, carrying with it cars, houses, trees, and anything that lies in its path. And this is why tsunami warnings matter. Because when every second counts, a few minutes of preparation can mean the difference between survival and tragedy. Imagine waking up early in the morning in a quiet seaside village, fishermen preparing their nets, children running barefoot along the sand, and suddenly the ground beneath your feet begins to shake, windows rattle, birds scatter, and the ocean makes a strange sound as the water pulls back, exposing the seabed, leaving stranded fish wriggling on the sand. And some people, unaware of the danger, walk closer to see the spectacle, while others who know the signs shout for everyone to run. Because that withdrawal is the ocean gathering strength. And within minutes, a dark wall of water appears on the horizon, roaring like thunder. And by the time it strikes the coast, the world you knew is gone. That scenario is not fiction. It has played out countless times in history, like in 2004, when the Indian Ocean earthquake, one of the strongest ever recorded, triggered a tsunami so powerful it swept across 14 countries, killing over 200,000 people, many of whom never received a warning. And in that tragedy, the world learned how vital an early warning system truly is, sparking international efforts to build networks of seismic sensors, deep ocean buoy satellites, and emergency sirens, to ensure that when the next quake hits, people would have time to flee to higher ground. But even with all this technology, the human factor remains critical, because warnings only save lives if people believe them, and too often hesitation or disbelief costs precious minutes. And that's why governments constantly urge citizens in coastal areas to practice evacuation drills, know their routes, and remember that if you feel the ground shaking near the ocean, don't wait for an official message. Run to safety immediately, because nature doesn't always give a second chance. In places like Japan, where tsunamis are part of cultural memory, entire towns are built with evacuation towers and marked pathways leading to elevated safe zones, because they know that preparedness is survival, and stories are passed down from generation to generation, so no one forgets what these waves can do. In Alaska and along the Pacific Northwest, communities live with the looming threat of the Cascadia subduction zone, a fault line capable of producing a megaquake that scientists warn could generate a tsunami strong enough to devastate coastal towns within minutes. And exercises like shakeout are conducted to keep people ready for that day. Scientists explain that the very first clue of a tsunami is often not an alarm, but the ocean itself. If the water suddenly recedes dramatically, or if a roaring sound like a freight train echoes from the sea, those are nature's warnings, and survival depends on acting immediately, without hesitation. Consider how in 2011, when Japan's Tōhoku earthquake struck with magnitude 9.0, people on the coast had only minutes before the waves arrived, and yet many who knew the signs and followed the warnings survived, while others who stayed behind were swept away. That disaster not only claimed thousands of lives, but also caused the Fukushima nuclear crisis, showing that tsunamis can trigger cascading effects far beyond flooding. The phrase tsunami warning may sound routine to those who hear it often, especially in regions where alerts are frequent, but experts emphasize that every warning must be treated as real. Because while some waves may only disturb harbors or damage boats, others can flatten entire towns. And it's impossible to know which until the wave arrives, and by then, it's too late. Think about it. You may never see a tsunami in your lifetime, but if you do, your survival will depend entirely on how you respond in those first critical minutes, whether you trust the warnings, whether you act without waiting, and whether you've learned from the past stories of devastation. Technology today allows warnings to be broadcast to phones, radios, televisions, and even car navigation systems, but the most reliable alarm is still your own awareness. If you rain near the coast and the earth shakes violently, or if the ocean behaves strangely, don't wait, just go. The beauty of coastal life comes with this risk, and while the sea offers food, trade, and breathtaking landscapes, it also hides this ancient danger that humankind has respected and feared for centuries. Every time we hear of a tsunami warning, it's not just a scientific term, it's a reminder of how fragile life is and how powerful the planet can be. And the story of tsunamis is not just about waves, it's about resilience, survival, and learning, because every warning carries within it the voices of those lost in past disasters, urging us not to repeat their mistakes. The lesson is clear. A tsunami warning is not noise, not a false alarm, but a lifeline. And those who heed it often live to tell the tale, while those who doubt it risk becoming part of the ocean's story.